Take a slow breath in. Allow your attention to settle. Let your thoughts slow slightly. Now imagine you are in a discussion about a proposal you have worked carefully to prepare. It might be a partnership structure, a pricing model, or a strategy your team believes will create long-term value. You explain the idea clearly. You walk through the reasoning. You show how the structure could work for both sides. At first, the conversation flows normally. People ask questions. They examine details. The discussion feels balanced. Then one person responds in a different way. Instead of addressing the proposal directly, they summarize it in their own words. But the way they describe it sounds slightly different from how you explained it. They frame the idea as more complicated than it is. Or they emphasize a risk that was only a small part of the discussion. Or they compare it to another option that suddenly seems simpler. As they speak, the room begins reacting to their version of the proposal. The conversation starts orbiting around the frame they introduced. You notice the shift immediately. Your mind begins evaluating the situation. If their description becomes the reference point, the discussion may drift away from the original structure of the idea. You pause before responding. Situations like this appear often in strategic conversations. Whoever defines the frame of a discussion often shapes how the room evaluates the idea. If a proposal is framed as risky, the room searches for risks. If it is framed as complex, the room looks for complications. So instead of challenging the person directly, you gently reset the frame of the conversation. You say calmly, "Let me restate the core objective behind the proposal." The room becomes quieter. You continue. The goal here is to solve the problem we discussed earlier while keeping the structure simple for both sides. You briefly summarize the idea again, this time focusing on the key elements that matter most. The outcome the proposal creates, the value it delivers, the reason the structure was designed the way it was. The conversation shifts. People begin reconsidering the idea from the perspective you reintroduced. Questions become clear. Details return to their proper context. You listen carefully as the discussion continues. Then you add another question. Which part of the proposal would make the biggest difference if it works as intended? Now the room begins focusing on the potential impact. The conversation moves away from abstract concerns and toward practical outcomes. People begin evaluating the idea in relation to the problem it solves. Take another slow breath. Notice how the situation feels different now. At first, the discussion drifted when the proposal was reframed in a different light. But once the original objective became visible again, the conversation regained clarity. You recognize something important about discussions like this. Ideas are often evaluated through the frame in which they are presented. And when that frame changes, the meaning of the proposal can change with it. The person who calmly restores the purpose behind the idea often helps the room see the situation more clearly again. Because when the objective becomes visible, decisions become easier, to evaluate.